Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Reddit Me Please. How would you feel if someone chased you outside of the store just because they are so adamant on knowing that you work there, even if you don't? We'll talk more on that story, but first, I don't care that a man died. My kid's tummy hurts. This happened a few years ago, so things are a little fuzzy around the edges. I'm a veterinary technician and I got injured on the job. A puppy was handed to me and he started flailing and managed to take a 1 centimeter by 3 millimeter chunk out of my cornea with his claw. It's amongst the most painful injuries I've ever received. I can't see to save my life, so I call my dad and ask him to take me to the ER. He picks me up directly from work. The ER is a madhouse. You know it's going to be bad when there's a handful of staff waiting on the ambulance to arrive. While I'm waiting in the exam room, I hear a page come over the system for a code blue. That means a patient has arrested and it's an all-hands-on-deck situation for CPR. It's also a reminder that you're lucky to be waiting in an ER because you're not dying. I'm eventually seen by the doctor, and I get a few long glances from the nurses at my scrubs. They seem to notice the large paw print logo embroidered on them from the hospital I used to work at and leave me be. After my visit, the nurse who's discharging me points down the hall at the door and tells me to exit that way, and then she gets back to work. As I'm walking down the hall, a woman pops out from one of the exam rooms on my blind side and immediately starts yelling. I almost crashed into a desk. Our characters will be Concerned Mother, CM, Mortified Daughter, MD, and yours truly, the main entertainment, ME. Do you know how long I've been waiting? Gesturing in vain towards the paw print logo. I don't work here. Do you think I'm an idiot? I can get someone to... We've been waiting for 45 minutes in this room. MD's tummy hurts. Do you even care about her? Seems to be about 13 years old, covering her face with her hands, looking a bit like she wishes the floor would swallow her up. I can't help, slowly, like I'm an idiot. Her tummy hurts. Do you people even care at all about how long we've waited? In disbelief over how someone could be so clueless about triage. Did you not see the man come in that got hit by a car? Just a guess, but hoping to give her some perspective. Is he my daughter? No. Then why would I care? What's wrong with your face? Quit winking at me. Just struggling to see over here. My bad. At this point, a security guard shows up. He stands between us and looks at her, then at me. Desperately pointing at the paw print logo, I'm a patient. He turns and nods to CM and starts explaining that I don't work here. I didn't hang around to see the aftermath because, the whole couldn't see part. Some say her daughter's tummy hurts to this very day. This woman was too upset to notice the logo. To some people, scrubs are scrubs, and they think you can do it all because you have them on. Our heroes wear these capes every day. But lady, this cape was for animals, not for people. He went Pikachu wild-faced when I asked if he could read. I used to be a DSD vendor, which in the US is someone who goes to the stores like supermarkets and stocks a very specific name brand of product from stock in the back, and then leaves to go to the next store, repeat. We're often employed directly by the name brand, not the store itself, so I have loads of IDWHL stories, but a few of them are real special. Chances are, if you see someone stocking a name brand of snack cakes, chips, sodas, beer, greeting cards, trading cards, snack crackers, cookies, or tobacco, you're actually looking at a DSD vendor. I was doing my usual thing, stocking my brand, and went to part of Small Sharks Racetrack, which is the main walkway in front of a department. A dude I would shortly discover was as dumb as a bag of hammers, and thus here named BH, comes up to me, completely ignoring my hat with logo, shirt with logo, cart with logo, not a store cart, literally a my branded cart, 30 odd boxes with logo, and armloads of logo product, and asking me where something not logo, naturally, is that is typically in the frozen section. I think those are usually in the frozen section. Which aisle are those on then? Keep going down that way until you get to the freezer section, and then look there, pointing to the area of the store where the freezers are very obviously to anyone with half a brain. BH walks one aisle down. I don't see them. The freezer section is about 7 aisles down. Keep going until you get to the freezer section. BH walks one more aisle down. Where? Keep going a long way down. You'll see the freezers. BH moves one more aisle down. I don't see any. Keep going. Look for the freezers. BH then moves one more aisle down. Where? Exasperated with his incompetence, I set my logo stuff down and walk over to him, fully intending to say something to the effect of, "Can you not see the signs above the aisles? And can you find the big signs that say what stuff is on the aisle and read what they say?" But instead, what came out was a stumbling over, slightly yelling, "Can you read?" It's now BH's turn to be exasperated, and turns to me and looks at me completely incredulously with furrowed brow, mouth hanging open, and a perfect Pikachu expression as if to say, "Did I hear you literally say that to me right now?" Using facial expressions alone. I just turned back toward my cart and mumbled out, "I don't work for the store," and got back to my logo stuff. I really had actually fully intended to say something else after read, but just the question's silliness on its own gave me pause to laugh internally about what the next word should be, that I just left it hanging on read. I didn't see where BH traipsed off to after that, and on my way out I told the manager for the supermarket and how I accidentally asked him if he could read, and she said not to worry about it, laughing, saying, "I literally want to say that every single day. I'm glad at least somebody did, and that if it ever came back around as feedback against me, she would shut it down." Good times. I'm pretty sure we've all had these moments if you ever worked in retail. Some things just need to be said, but just needs to be, and that's very unfortunate for us. Yes, OP really wanted to say something else, but as part of their job, they handled it really well. Woman confuses me for employee. Gets locked out of the store, leaving her groceries behind. So last night, I'm finishing up my shift as an EMT, and it's been a long and tiring one. The calls weren't bad, but there were a lot of them, and we were all over the damn county. Shift is over, I change back into my comfy clothes, sweats, t-shirt, hoodie, and I head to the store to get something for dinner. I get there just in time since they're closing in 10 minutes. I assure the cashier that I was just grabbing something quick, and I go and pick up a lasagna from the frozen section. I grab them and turn to head to the checkout when I hear ahem, not a throat clearing sound, but someone saying it like they were reading it out loud. Turn and look to see a woman, and she snaps off a, "I need you to go in the back and get me a pack of the frozen pretzels." I say that I don't work here and point out where an employee just went behind an end cap. Woman snaps, "You do work here and you need to stop being lazy and get me my pretzels." I again say I don't work here and turn to walk to the self-check. She flips her crap and storms off, muttering about lazy employees and managers. I finish checking out and I'm grabbing my stuff and leaving when I see her again with her cart and the manager, and she yells, "There she is, that's the lazy chick," and starts towards me. I'm not even going to engage, so I hold up my receipt and my one item to the self-check girl and walk out. I hear the manager raising his voice and saying, "Ma'am, ma'am, ma'am." Turns out she left her cart behind and stormed out of the store to confront me. I get in my car to drive off, but she's standing in front of it so I can't go anywhere. She's also giving me a tongue lashing that I'm too checked out to really pay attention to. Great. I'm already on my last nerve, and this woman is hate freaking it. Manager sticks his head out of the door and hollers, "Ma'am?" She turns and makes a hushing motion towards him. He hollers, "Ma'am?" one more time, and she hollers back saying, "I'm dealing with your employee since you're too much of a little to do it yourself." He bristles and says, "Madam." She cuts him off with the "Shut the freak up," screeched at the top of her lungs. He shrugs, and I watch him go back inside, fiddle with the locks, flip the sign to close, and pull down the shades. As I'm watching this, she gets annoyed that I'm not paying her my full attention, and she yells, "What the hell are you looking at that's so damn important to ignore me?" I just pointed at the shop and say, "They just closed and locked the doors." I'm not sure what she screamed since it was pretty incoherent, but she did run towards the door. Seeing my chance, I drove off, leaving her pounding on the door and cursing. Wow, she really was too concerned about the wrong thing. The OP really handled this well, especially since they were already stressed out. Could you keep this same mentality if this was your situation? Entitled people yell at high schoolers for volunteering. Mandatory, I'm a mobile warning. So I'm in this thing called GROTC. Basically, it's the Air Force in high school. We do a lot of volunteering, mostly parking and directing and crowd control. Keep in mind a couple things. We are high schoolers. We have no professional training. There were over 1,000 people. We were given absolutely no instruction on what to do here. We were volunteering to direct parking for the local air show that only happens like once a year. So many people came, and so many people yelled at us. This show really brought out a lot of entitled people, so here are the stories. Also, the workers just threw neon yellow vests at us, and that was all the instruction we got. Our cast, me, person who just wants a good grade, EP, the collective entitled people at the air show, Josh, our corp commander. We are all scared of him. There is also a running joke that he is the mom of our corps, OC, other cadets, JM, Josh's mom, TD, traffic director. Now on to the story. I get there and I'm thrown into handicap parking. I stand to the side, point my hands away from the gates, and tell people to find the OC further down who will park them. We had a long strip of parking right next to the entrance gate for handicapped people, but it was long going away from the gate, and we were told to fill it in by sending them all the way down and filling it up right away. There was also a small area of space at the front with a cone next to it that I was told to not let anyone park in. These were all the instructions I got. Spoiler alert, people park there. So I'm doing my job, and a car pulls up next to me, rolls down the windows, and an old woman begins talking to me. "Excuse me, where are the handicapped spaces?" "Right down there, ma'am. Go to the guy in the vest who is parking people and he will help you." "Oh no, that's too far. My husband is handicapped. We can't walk that far." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but that's where the parking is. Please move along." "How am I supposed to walk that far? My husband is handicapped." "I understand, but we have 500 other handicapped people and they all had to park down there as well." "This is ridiculous. How do you expect us to walk that far?" "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't work here. Other handicapps had to park down there as well. Please move along. You're holding up the line." "You ignorant young people. You need to be more sympathetic to your elders." "What about those spots over there?" Pointing to the empty spots I was directed not to let people park in. "I'm sorry, no one is allowed to park there." "Why not?" "I'm not sure. I was just told not to let anyone park there." This encounter happened many times with many different people, as well as other things. I was very close to being hit and run over multiple times. A lot of people asked me where the exit was. I didn't know because I didn't work there. Someone screamed at Josh for no reason, which put him in a bad mood all day. Just don't understand what makes people think they can act like that. I have many more stories like this that I will post soon. I can only imagine what OP had to go through that day. When it comes to customer service, you have to have a lot of patience, especially with the elderly. Do you think that OP could have done something different? I legally can't work here. For context, I have always looked younger than I am. I'm 24 and people still ask to see my ID for 18 and over events and rated R movies. When I was in middle school, my uniform consisted of khaki pants or skirts and a dark green collared shirt. I also used to frequent a discount store chain that happened to have the same uniform, but you had to be 18 to even apply to work there. Every week, my mom would let my brother and I spend a couple of dollars in the store after school. People asked me all the time where things were, and I could usually say I don't work here. They would see I was very clearly a child, and they would leave me alone. One time when I was about 12, my mom took us to the store. It was after school, so I had my uniform on, but I also had my school ID, plastered with my school name, hanging around my neck. I was browsing the candy section when the man came up to me. I'd seen him there a lot before that day, but never up close. He was a big dude, and I'm already very shy, so I was nervous to start with. "Toilet paper." "What?" Angrily. "Toilet paper. Where is it?" "I don't know. I don't work here." "Yeah, you do. You're wearing a shirt." "No. See?" Holding up my ID. Starting to yell. "This is why y'all are stuck working in such a stinkhole. You all are lazy and dumb as frick." At that point, my goddess of a mother came around the corner. She used to be a criminal prosecutor and isn't afraid of anything. She grabbed me by the shoulder and kind of pushed me out of the aisle, saying over her shoulder, "She's 12, butthole." My mom took me up front to check out and told the manager what happened. The manager asked me who did it, and I was trying my hardest not to cry, so all I could do was point. It was a small store. The manager said she would take care of it, and my mom hustled me out to the car and back home. I never saw the guy again. Ended up working in that same location with the same manager after I turned 18. Apparently, she told him if he wanted to talk to people like that, then she didn't want his business. The job ended up sucking, but my manager always looked out for me. Thanks, Janae. Like, dude, are you seriously that mad over toilet paper? Maybe if you asked nicely, she could have helped or asked for it. Like, could you not take a good look at the ID? Well, now you're out of there. Well, that's all the time we have. If you'd like to hear another insane Reddit story, check out my latest video. With all that being said, I'll see you next time with more stories.